develop.
Exactly.
All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Just in regards to gaming, of basically what transpired over the last couple of days, in the FGC and Smash community. Just in regards to, you guessed it, Me Too allegations, sexual assault. Yeah, the whole everything, all the above. I mean, damn, where do you want to start with this?
Uh,
Evo being canceled. You just go from there.
Evo. Let's put it like this: Evo is canceled because
Yep.
Mr. Wizard got accused of some wild shit, and then
Some
came out
wild
later.
shit.
Basically, came out later and was like, you know what? Yeah, but I changed, and niggas weren't having it. So, like,
Wow. He tried to pull that.
you know what it is? Like, he's just like, yeah, you know what? Some of that stuff is true, but you know, a lot of time has gone by since then, and I changed. Um, which kind of I kind of get it. It kind of sucks that like my man's getting clapped for it now. Something that happened like mad long ago, and apparently like people like James Chen and stuff like that knew about, but like nobody called him out on it until like now. So
Yeah.
in
No,
that sense, like it's kind of trash. So like from his perspective, it's like yo, that sucks because like niggas called him out like now after
your
like
mic's
20
starting
years of
to. It's the classic. Every episode, your mic gets into
all right,
gets into his feelings. Yeah, no, I hear you better now.
all right, no, but like from his perspective, it was like, bro, niggas could have called me out 20 years ago.
No, no one said anything. It's just like, I thought it was cool. What do you mean?
Yeah,
What do you mean I couldn't pay those little boys to jump in the pool?
yeah, fucking.
You were there. You were
That's some
laughing.
creep shit. But even still, like, he came out and admitted that yes, this is true or whatever. And like they replaced him as the CEO, and they canceled EVO Online. Capcom and someone else already pulled out beforehand.
All
So
the
that
sponsors basically pulled
yeah,
out.
so that was a huge hit for you know, all the KI people out there that were training their asses off.
Bro,
Bro,
everybody. Same
I'm
thing for
more upset
MK.
that the Marvel exhibition isn't gonna happen.
Oh my no, bro! Everything got canceled. Got like that just was just like, so basically all the tournaments just done. Like, I mean, today was supposed to be, as we're potting right now. Today was supposed to be the start. This weekend was to be the start.
Yeah, it was EVO Online. That shit got canceled.
Those tournaments, and nothing's happening. Nothing's going on.
Yeah, they're refunding people who bought badges, which should have already been refunded because nobody was going there. And they're
That
donating
was
money to
interesting.
Project Hope.
So no more Joey Sealer. I can't, man. I'm bad people's names. Like
Bueller, I thought. I don't know.
Sealer. Like we said, who was
No
the
more
CEO?
Mr. Wizard.
No more Mr. Wizard. He's been
Disappeared.
Yep. He's been relieved of his CEO duties of Evo, and now Tom Cannon, who's been an old time, from what I can understand and was read, who's been a long time standing member of the FGC, who actually is one of the originators of GGPO in terms of just pushing that to be the standard on fighting games, and rollback netcode just, across the board for a minute. And it's just kind of like some of the reasons why GGPO is a big thing, now in the FGC for gaming, for online and things like that. So, I mean, just going by that, I think, what it sounds like people are saying, he's a guy, he's a man who is about the games, who's about the FGC, and about the growth of the FGC. So I mean, I hope, I wish this dude the best going forward. He's coming into a cesspool of problems, like he's coming into a job that, that's going to be rough, because like EVO now has to find a way to recuperate, build up their image again, the trust, and then somehow figure out whether it's next year, because of course we're still dealing with the C virus, and we don't even know what EVO will look like next year, and now we really don't know, basically based on what all these allegations that are happening. And just to even give the full context, like these are allegations that span, just not to Mr. Wizard, but to a lot of other individuals as well, because as we mentioned before, even Mr. Wizard, Mike Z came back into question as well, into the picture, into the conversation on Twitter. Oh man, Twitter needs to burn. But basically, Twitter, it was a female member of the FGC who she came out. It was just basically saying like, yeah, Mike Z has been making all these inappropriate advances, all these just making her feel uncomfortable like for a long time, and she has said this to many people, and people kind of brush it off. Someone else came to her defense, and same thing was saying, I've been in, whether I'm in cosplay or not, and talk about the individual Mike Z to other people, and people kind of just laugh it off. And I think there's a running theme there, because same thing with Mr. Wizard. I was reading someone's twit longer of one of the players who supposedly was back in the day was paid to do one of those things that people are accusing Mr. Wizard of, which was like back in the arcade days of having little boys jump in pools, or paying them to take their clothes off down to their underwear and jump into a pool of water. Um,
That's some creep shit.
he, yeah, and he was just saying like how when he mentioned, like even just back then, of the same people who are supposed to be pillars of the FGC, when he was telling people these things back in the day, same similar behavior. People like, oh, you didn't know, or they were just joking, laugh it off. And I guess this is what begs the question of what you mean to the things we even talked about before, is like we understand that these things happen. And I think the fact is, like I said, we're not going to go back to what we said before. Due process is still a thing. I feel terrible just about EVO and how it turned out. Because it sucks. A lot of people who had nothing to do with any allegations or anything that's going on, who are just here to play games and compete and, strive to do well to win, they get asked out. Which, I mean, people's like, yo, who cares about them, whatever. But I'm like, but okay, but they matter too. Because I know there's victims of, but like I said, no one's a winner out here.
Yeah, everybody's getting clapped. Like specifically, like even the Smash
Smash is
community.
crazy. Like,
pretty much like the majority of like the big name people in Smash have gotten hit for metoo allegations. It started with a player coming out with allegations against Senpai, and then like there's video of her like getting cozy with with the kid who was 14 at the time.
14, yeah, 14.
Yeah, like at some of the local tournaments and stuff, and then it turns out like the guy that was uploading them started deleting some of the tournaments that was showing them together, and a means to like protect them. Like the problem with the Smash community specifically is that no one's like out there calling out people for the creep shit that they're doing. They're protecting each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, A lot of people are
Yeah.
coming out and saying to like, hey, you know what? These people knew about it, but they didn't say anything, or like, they just laughed me off when like, this was something important. Like people were getting clapped in droves, like D1, you know, get Nairo, Kitaro,
D1 out here. I can't remember D1 Haitian, but D1 out here. That's
bro.
an L
Like,
for us, bro. Took an L right there. Me,
um,
Merlo, we all took an L on that one.
they brought up Noel Brown again. Pug West got clapped.
Pug
Pug
West
West was
got
wild.
clapped.
If you see the, if you see the,
I remember I played that dude in the Smash tournament. And he was man. That was a funny time though. But really,
yeah, like you got to read those. Those are wild. West
yo,
Balls got clapped. Zero,
damn. Yeah, I
Zero
heard
has
about
it the
Zero.
worst.
I heard Zero's wild, bro. I mean, yo, no, I'm not even.
Well, so there's two, two more I kind of want to highlight, right? So the
Some
Senpai
wild
thing
kids,
is
bro.
wild, and she just hasn't said anything. Period. Like people have been accusing her like crazy. She went radio silent. Um, Anti got clapped, but
Yep.
his situation is different.
I,
And
I don't know his situation.
his situation, well, one of them is a little different. So he lost his sponsorship already and stuff like that, which sucks. But basically, like at a tournament back in 2016, some girl was on Tinder, put her age as 18, and then like according to him, he asked her what her age was, and she stood by she was 18, and then they like did whatever, and then she looped D1 and Kitaro into that as well. But she says that he knew that she wasn't 18, but the thing is like if you put your age, like you have to be 18 or put your age as 18 to be on Twitter in the first place. So this is kind of where I got into with the Delia thing, where it's like, yo, you're lying off rip, and like there's other
Right.
allegations
I
against
didn't catch
Anti because
that.
apparently a lot of people are coming out. But in his in his thing, it's just like, yo, like you maintained that you were this age, and like how much vetting does a person have to do, especially like, like Smash players aren't like no celebrities, like they're known for their talent in the community, but outside of the community, they're not known.
And
So
normal,
like,
they're just
like
gamers.
it's not like a Bieber thing where there's a team of people like documenting everything for him. Like you're thinking like, all right, well this person said they're 18, I'm gonna take their word for it. Like now, like people got to start sending girls to the store for cigarettes, like to make sure that they're 18, because it's ridiculous. And I have asthma, so I'm not smoking, but that's not the point. Like,
It's not the point. Grab those Newports. If you can't get those Newports, this conversation is over.
yeah, and then you have somebody with them to make sure that she ain't
I
sitting out
can't.
front asking somebody to buy the cigarettes for them. Like, it's
You about to
ridiculous.
bug her. You about to put a wiretap on her too. Even after the yo, I'm just thinking like vetting is about to be like it's about to be OD, bro.
Bro,
About to
and this is why I
wiretap
say
her.
like,
If I hear her say 18 years old, she
like niggas gotta protect themselves at all costs. Like it's ridiculous. Because like you can't even just trust someone saying that they're the age as they are. Like what's
that's what's so crazy about it. And then but then then who's at fault? It's just like is it
exactly.
anti
So
or
then
is it the
like
person that lied about their age even when
because then
confronted about it further?
exactly, and then you can't prove like now he doesn't have conversations or anything or any way to prove that this girl maintained that she was 18 when she wasn't. So now he looks
Man,
crazy, and now he was like snapping on Twitter, and then he's just
I
like,
can
yo, and
imagine.
then he deleted everything. He's like, I'm just gonna talk to a lawyer, which like makes sense. I was like, my boy was like flipping.
Oh my god. No, I can imagine, yo. I can imagine. I remember even God, I can imagine. It doesn't because it doesn't stop there, folks. Like, yo, Nairo, another player, because this was crazy. Nairo's situation with Captain Zach, who's been a player that has had a controversy in the past with anti, and
Yo,
I put.
this story, I didn't.
Do I maybe I should pull up that tweet longer,
Both of
bro?
them are wrong. both of them are wrong in the Captain Zach situation. Captain Zach knew he was wrong from rip. Because even when he did with Ally, he knew he was wrong. He knew what they did was both wrong. And he knew that Ally would take more of a fall than he would for this. So then he was just like, all right, well, he was blackmailing Ally into throwing matches. I wouldn't be surprised if
Mm-hmm.
something similar happened to Nairo or something like that. Like, Captain Zach is just as wrong in this situation as Nairo and Ally was, because he understands that that kind of relationship shouldn't have been going on because he was underage and they were of age. But then he was manipulating that situation with Ally, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did that to other people. Like, I'm not trying to say that like what happened with Captain Zach was wrong, because yes, like when you know engage in intimacy with someone that is legally not of age, then you're wrong. But at the same time, it's like that person knowing that, like, and then from there, like blackmailing you into that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Captain Zach comes back with another one. Uh, and and again, like I'm not defending Nairo because Nairo is wrong too, but Captain Zach is just kind of like left a weird taste in the public's mouth because it's like, yes, we're sorry that you're dealing with this, but at the same time, it's like, bro, like you're complicit. Like you're not naive to the fact that this is wrong. Like
Bro,
you know this is wrong, and you've done that with like on purpose, and then you've bent the that to your will, especially when it came to Ally.
bro, because I heard everything you said, and I'm looking at Nairo's Twitter, uh, and just the disparity in just what a couple days can do. Like his one of his last tweets was like on Tuesday, he was just talking about Min Min. He was just talking about Smash Min Min. I'm gonna stream, and then just yesterday, in the span of 3 days, he's just like, I'm sorry, my behavior is wrong, and about the Captain Zach situation and everything with that. Like, yo, ladies, like people who are just who are watching, like we're not kidding. Like in just like 2 days, like two communities were just like bottom up, uprooted, kind of uh just of all of their top players. Yeah, just like this stuff all happened all at once. Like because this never happened. Like usually when you have one allegation, it's kind of we send out one allegation, and then like people sit there and figure out. Now people are now we're now dealing with multiple allegations against multiple players, against multiple people who a lot of players, a lot of people in the community size pillars, which brings to my next point. Let me just get right into it and not even just beat around the bush. So where do you think? Because we can still keep going on these allegations, because there's more. There's a whole lot more we could dive into. But what's the next step? Where do we go from here? Like now sponsorships, like
We start speed running.
we speed run.
We start speed running. I was speed running Mega Man X4 with my brother. I think I'm going to continue that. Smash has been fun.
You're just saying, yo, I'm going to the speedrun community.
Yeah. At this point, if you're good at the game, you're a predator, and I don't want that stigma. So this is why I've been taking.
You start taking games at tournaments, they're just like, bro, let me see your phone real quick. Let me see your DMs. Who you be talking to?
First person to beat me in tournament, I'm like, nope, let me see your DMs.
Wow. That's where we at? All right. I'm like, all right, cuz. Okay. Oh, all right. You got jokes. All right, then. All right. Okay. All right, man. Talking about my DMs like that. All right.
No, I mean,
okay.
In certain situations, especially Zero situation,
that's a big one.
A lot of people have a common theme of like someone's house, like Sky Williams or something like that.
Yup. And
it's on the parents a lot to like, vet, who these people are with. Like, I used to go out with my friends or go to my friend's house,
They had to meet their parents. They had to get the phone number. They had to exchange phone numbers, all that stuff. And there's no reason why underage children should be in a house like with grown ass men who play Smash and like no one bats an eye. You know what I mean? Like I get that sometimes like Smash Fest happens or whatever, but like like people need to be escorted. Like like I've been in tournaments where like there was young kids there, but their parents were there. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff that happened to like Puppet, like the whole like senpai thing wouldn't happen if the parents were there. You just
Yeah.
drop your 14-year-old kid off at a tournament, and then a 24-year-old girl starts preying on them, like, which is wild. Because I feel bad for him. Like, he came out and said he was messed up, and everybody was like, with that double standard of like, nah, you're being a punk, like.
Yo, and that's what it is like. And then he goes through life, and what happens? He goes through life, has to deal with these problems throughout his life, and not knowing how to feel because he tried to talk about it, and he kind of was like not shot down, but it was taken differently than it is for other people. I guess in this case, we'll say for when a female, a woman makes these type of allegations.
Yeah, because
So
I first saw it with the quartering. He reported it. And, a lot of people were like, dude, like, like, dude, that's sick. Like, that isn't like cool. Like, I'm like, it's not fair. Like, the roles been reversed, bro. This dude's a monster. But because it's a girl doing it, it's like, oh, dude, you should like that.
yeah, and then it's just like, oh, then they'll be like, oh, like how did well, how, was she hot? How did the girl like why does that like? Why does that
Oh,
matter?
the funny thing is, they don't ask that. Like, if a girl was sexually assaulted,
They don't even ask
they're
that.
not like, yo, was the guy cute? Like, how big was his dick? Like, no, none of that stuff is asked. Like, but when it's the other way around, it's like, oh, was she hot? Like, dude, like, tell me all about it. Like,
yeah, I know, like how she look. Oh, how she look like. And then and then you get the guy. He's 14. Then he's like, oh, people like, oh, show me how she looks like, or show me a picture. And then now now he's put in a circumstance where he is gonna have to like try to show a picture of the person that assaulted him to other people, but for the reason that people want to see her just to see if she's attractive. See,
yeah.
we say this because this is like a scenario we could see happening, or that's kind of basically an example of a scenario like we just see happening when a guy goes through these things. I'm not saying this is every scenario, but like that's the double standard thing.
You
Like
saw how
it
quickly
doesn't
we
get.
dismissed Terry Crews when he came out with his allegations.
Yeah,
Then
even though
again,
he
Terry
says some
Crews
wild
is like
stuff.
3 times the size of the dude that. I'm like, if you ain't punch a hole through him. But that was like the general consensus. But still, like,
He was 3 times.
like we don't take men accusations seriously as we do women. That's what it is.
No, and it's the same. Then it's like, what? So I should have used violence. Like that's what I'm. Let's see. Now Terry's like, wait. So now I should use violence. And then if I use violence
Then
to
he's a
solve all
violent
my
black man.
problems,
There's no winning. So I
there's no
understand where he
winning.
was at.
Yeah.
But to the greater point, though, they need to be, parents need to be more in the know, because we live in a very, like, just kind of a generation where they'll just pass you a smartphone. It's like, all right, get out of my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you want to go play Smash? Cool, get out of my face. Like, but we're not vetting them how, like, when we grew up, where your parents want to know a lot about you because, like, people were, like, fucked up in the world. Like, shit happens. Like a lot of parents now are just like, all right, well, I'm gonna drop you off here so I can like have time to myself instead of just being like, hey, like, like maybe you can't go today because I can't sit and watch you, or like your older brother isn't there to like do this. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Or,
yeah. I
like,
don't have someone who I trust, or who I know to watch you.
yeah,
And I mean, I understand. I do realize, like, yeah, like a lot more kids nowadays are more independent compared to how we were back in the day. Like, it's crazy. I'm like trying to think. I'm like, damn, would my parents let me go to like a tournament like by myself or whatever? Especially is just like, and in like, but like at the age of like 14. Like, I'm saying like now. I mean, come on. I mean, obviously we grown ass men, but I'm saying like like back in the day, and I'm saying like us knowing us, like
Yeah,
back
I
in the
had to go
day.
with people like, she knew and she like felt like she could trust, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't just jump jumping in a car to go to God knows where in Pennsylvania, like with some random people to play Smash. Like I was going with like my friends Javi and like his brother to tournaments or something, or my brother would be coming with me, or like when even when I moved to Jersey, it's like, I was like 18 then, but, still introduced like my boy to like my pops and everything. We exchanged that info because like I didn't have a phone at the time. So he's like, yo, just to make sure you good.
Right. No,
Like
it's
it's not a
just
control thing when you're worried about the safety of your child, and like a child can understand that. I just think on the parenting end, people are just getting lazier.
no, yeah, and that's another thing too. And it's like it's no, it's strange when it's just like I see the tournaments and like or I go to like these tournaments and I notice it's like like the audience demographic, yeah, it's like especially for Smash, the age demographic is really young. Like it's it's like we're seeing more and more younger players. Like I don't know if it's I was just gonna bring up how Zero used to cover like a lot of these upsets whenever like a new unknown or like an unknown player, whether especially their age is a big thing because like they'll be like, what was the one of the recent ones, someone that was like 14, someone was like 14, 15 was like beating a pro player in like Smash. And then like and then that that's like that news is always hype because we're just like, yo, we got a young prodigy in the mix and stuff like that. That's always where the hype is. But now it begs the question, is just like, well, now that we're seeing a lot of these young players come into the scene, but then the scene is run by or kind of maintained by the long-standing members
These
of the
predators who
community.
just be coercing people with drinks, underage drinking.
Bro.
Bro, these Nintendo came out and basically said that they, don't agree with the practice. I wouldn't be surprised if, Nintendo doesn't support the competitive scene anymore because that's what happened back when
MLG.
MOG, yeah, where like there was a lot of collusion and
That was
there was some other
cheating.
stuff. Yeah, cheating happened. They were like,
No
nah,
one
we
got
good.
touched then.
Now I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo doesn't sponsor any of this. I think security should be beefed up at these tournaments. The parents should, do their due diligence, and then also like they just need to make sure that they crack down on like stuff like underage drinking and stuff like that. Like these are,
Crazy.
I said it before. Like this is what happened with people that generally just don't have power, or just like are generally like outcasts get some kind of power, they abuse it. Like you know what I mean?
No, and just
Then
because
they create their cliques and they stand by this stuff. Like Smash always has a controversy. This is just the worst of it all.
yeah, I know it's just to the point. Like you have these young aspiring players come into the scene, and these players are looking up to the leaders, the pillars of the community, which are older, they're all the older crowd. Like, you know, I guess maybe this was something that was maybe it was a long time coming. Because this is why I kind of drifted. I kind of strayed from because I was really big into competing in Smash or just like at least in like in my own scenes and stuff, going from school um and even here, even trying to even get into the local scene. I like given our age, right? Like I'll go to a tournament like balance patch or whatnot. Like it's obvious like what the average age demographic is around me. Like besides like the TO, like besides like knowing like TO, who are running the event and like players or people that I know who are along in the community, everyone else that it's new or people that are just they're like in high school, like they're just young. And like even for me, I'm like, okay, outside of Smash, what are we gonna talk about? And even then it's awkward. It's just like, yo, there's like a like I have no problem like playing Smash with anyone at any age. It's just the fact is like, when I'm playing for Smash, it's just about Smash. But when like I'm standing there around me and then I'm just like, yo, there's just like a lot of very young, like they're just adolescents around me. Like these people are still in high school, and I finished high school years ago. So like I felt
Yeah.
uncomfortable. It just felt off. Like it feels like I support, like, the scene's. I'm like, it's cool. I'm like, hey, these people are here playing Smash. Let them do their thing. But I was like, where I belong in this shouldn't be. It should be. I was like, it just don't feel right. I know I'm just here to just compete to feel playing Smash. But I felt uncomfortable with the fact that it was just like there's a big age difference between me and the average age of a player in this group against my own age. So I questioned my own place in it. And I think even then, I don't know, I guess I never really paid attention to that fact. I was just like, like,
There's
you,
creep niggas.
yeah, because it's the same for FGC as well. Like the same pillars are the older generation, and the newer generation are come in are, you know, young, and they're coming in looking at these people with, like, bright eyes and bushy tail. Like they're looking at these people like they're their idols, they're
Yeah.
leaders, so they're easily could be manipulated, and these are children. So like there's a lot of, as you can see, like there's a lot that is going on that we don't know about, or we just now, I guess now people are paying attention to. I think that's what it is. People are now paying attention to the fact that, like, you know, this is literally the perfect playing grounds for a predator. And, you know, I just, I guess it sucks that I guess we were really just relying on goodwill for too long. And I think that's what it is. Like goodwill uh is a finite thing.
Yeah, and to your point, you said it earlier. Is like these kids are like seeing their idols play. Like, to most people, like they're just like they're popular, or they might even be unknown to the general like public. But to the people in this scene, they're celebrities. You know what I mean? And think of the way that like people view other celebrities. Like they're to these kids, they look up to them like a Kanye or like a Justin Bieber or stuff like that. So like they're like dying for the chance to interact with these people, and then these grown
To be
ass men are
acknowledged
fucking
by these people.
yeah, and these grown ass men are taking advantage of that. Like it's sick shit, bro.
It really
I don't.
is abuse of power.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
The zero thing was crazy.
Naro's thing is crazy.
A lot of that is crazy. It's just the zero thing. I don't want to get too deep because we still got music to talk, and then we got to get out of here. I'm
Yeah.
getting tired, but
I haven't had a burger yet. You
yeah,
told me,
zero
bro.
kind of like just very quickly. Zero, started to admit, you know, some of the allegations, and then he started to like deny them. But then at some point, he was deflecting by giving a story on how he was brought up that was longer than like his apology and stuff. And then now, Zero deleted his Discord. He's like disabling comments on his YouTube. He said he's permanently banning himself. Like it's, I don't know. We
Ice
can talk
cubes,
about more about it.
bro.
Yeah,
I heard ice cubes, and
son's wild. Son's wild.
there's a lot. There's a lot you don't know about people like behind closed doors. I think people need to realize, like, your inspirations and your idols, your celebrities, they're people
They're
too.
people.
They're
Yes,
people.
exactly. They are people. They are
They're
flawed.
just like you.
Maybe even worse.
It's that, like, that's the thing. You people idolize these people, and I'm like, low key, you yourselves could actually be a better put together human being than the people you idolize. And then it's like, and that's not to say anyone with a platform or a place of influence is bad. Like, I'm not saying like every Smash player now, like you said, if you make top eights now, like you need to be vetted just in case you haven't touched any children before we could let you proceed, or getting, like, I guess now even watch. I bet the whole process for sponsorships is about to be hella different
Well,
going
Pete,
forward.
right? And I really want to, because we're gonna do this, but like, like some of these people, that's all they have is being good at this game. Like they don't have social skills. They don't may not have other talents and stuff like that. And this is not a slight to any Smash player, because I'm sure there's plenty of multi-talented Smash players. But like some people just don't have, especially when you're like really focusing on being the best you can at this. Like sometimes that's all you have.
You know what I mean? And you
Hmm.
know, they don't give themselves time or focus to develop like personal relationships or understand like social nuance and stuff like that because they're only focused on that one thing and being the best at that one thing.
Bro, like, no, and this, just to wrap up to the point where it's saying about, they're people too. Like, it's the same. It's like these are the same people that they have to put on their pants the same way you do, and they have to deal with the problems in life the same way we all do. And this is not something to kind of cover for them. It's just show that, you know, you can't idolize, like, make sure it's like it's one thing to look up to somebody in terms of like went out and things in life that I want to attempt or do myself. And that's great and all. But at the same time, you have to realize this person is human just like you are, and they're able and they make mistakes because no one listen, that's I think that's the big thing. You got to realize like they're capable of making mistakes. And I think the whole well, I don't know how to say a word. I'm just gonna want to word this right, and then I said my part. I see the whole stigma or the whole thing about like the top player, like that top player privilege, like top player, like this fucking what's the word? The air, the audacity, like like that top players have with other players and stuff like that. Like that also needs to like the whole top player versus you're just a casual, you're nothing to me. Like, oh, hey, can I play games with you? Oh no, I'm a top player. I have better things to do. Like that needs to stop. I think is just like this all started like this whole elitism thing, and I'm like, yo, like how did that get here? The whole point of gaming is we went to escape this type of like this classing standard we see in our everyday lives. Like gaming was supposed to be the outlet for that, and yet we start seeing the same thing. The people at the top, abusing the power that is given from them to the people who admire them, and then they get put in positions of influence, and then when they fall from those positions, everyone sit there asking questions: how did this happen? How do we get here? I mean, I'll tell you, it's just you start putting someone above you who is capable of making the same mistakes you are. You're gonna idolize somebody who is as close to near is not as perfect as the person next to them, and expecting these people, putting this power in their hands and not giving, taking all accountability from ourselves and from other people and giving them the power. And that's why I think as though going forward, I see this as the great purge. And I think as going forward, like I think does need to be like a reset button that needs to be hit. And just a way we kind of go about fighting games and Smash, and it's about the communities and just going forward. Yeah, I think we need to reset. I think we need to go back to the thuggery, because at least when to the point, make it about the games, making it about the games again. I mean, at the end of it, that's why I'm here. I'm here for Smash. I like playing Smash. I like competing, meeting other people, and playing the game. Like that needs to be the point forward and always. For that's why I make these communities great.
Yeah, and I think we got to do a better job of policing our communities. But that's
Yeah,
the last thing I'm going to say. Um, because yeah, we spent a lot of time on this shit.
yeah.
um,
Truth.
let's get into
Thank
some
you.